We just witnessed the best playoff series in NBA history. Okay, that's a stretch. But I think that the best playoff series in the first round just concluded. A series in which the New York Knicks, led by star point guard Jalen Brunson, took on the Philadelphia 76ers, led by reigning MVP center Joel Embiid. This was a complete back and forth series that had insane moments. And today we're gonna talk about it. I mean, what a series. Like, every single game I was fully tapped in. There's some series, like let's say the Magic Cavs, where I'm not as into it, but with Knicks Sixers, I made sure that I was there whenever tip off was, you know what I'm saying? I made sure that I was watching. This series was so good, in my opinion at least, that it didn't even feel like a first round matchup. It kind of felt like more of like an Eastern Conference Finals matchup. By the way, guys, we're 5 subscribers off of 2,000 subscribers. So if you want to help me out, go down below, click the red subscribe button. It would mean a lot. But this series was insane. Jalen Brunson, we all been like, you know, watching him this season, but this was pretty much like his breakout playoff series because he had a bunch of 40-point games, he had a bunch of huge shots, and as far as the Knicks go, OG Anunoby, offensively, defensively, just so solid. Like, he is an elite role player. He's not really a star. I think that's kind of a stretch, but he's like an elite, I mean, maybe star. I don't know what's right below star. That's what OG is, I'd say. But he fits this team so perfectly. It's actually crazy. And then you have Josh Hart. That is another elite level role player. Even in games where he shot bad, he's out there getting crazy rebounds. We get a game where he shot over 7, but he had 17 rebounds. We even saw guys like Dante DiVincenzo having big plays, big timely shots. Same with Miles McBride, who in my opinion is kind of like the Knicks spark plug. Like, I know all the fans love him. He just gives them some momentum when they need it. And then as far as the 76ers go, it was pretty much all Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey. The rest of the team really didn't give you much. I think a lot of Sixers fans as of right now kind of hate Tobias Harris because of just his efficiency and just his productivity. He pretty much gave them nothing in this playoff series. I think Kelly Oubre was solid. I think a lot of people wouldn't say that, but I think Kelly Oubre was pretty solid. Nick Batum, I mean, he's old. Nick Batum is old, but he was out there hooping. He was giving his best effort. And campaign played solid in game 6 and at the end of the series. Buddy Hield wasn't playing much. In game 6, he had a crazy game. We'll talk about it because I know y'all are already probably thinking about that one shot he took. I tweeted this out last night. Best series of the first round. I still stand on that, unless of course we have like some game 7 buzzer beater in like Mavs Clippers or one of these series that are still going. Total points scored, Knicks 650, Sixers 649 as the Knicks win 4-2. But that's just how close these games were. Like, there wasn't a single game really that was like a blowout or anything like that. They were all back and forth, just close. You're not really sure who's gonna win until the very end. Okay, so to start off this series, we had a close game in which Joel Embiid had 29 points, Maxey had 33 points. And this was a game where Brunson wasn't playing his best. He was 8 for 29, and the guy that I think really stepped up was Josh Hart. In a close game, down to the wire, he hit some huge shots, electric shots. Actually, like, the crowd was going, it was crazy to watch. Josh Hart, I don't know, I like watching him. I'm a fan of Josh Hart, and he clutched up 22 points, 13 boards, and the Knicks win game 1 by 7, 111 to 104. Now, game 2 was quite possibly the craziest game of the series. This one is still a home game for the Knicks, still in Madison Square Garden. And if you guys remember, because I know it was so long ago now, like a week and a half maybe, this is the game where the Knicks had that Reggie Miller-esque, you know, performance where they just went crazy at the end. The Sixers had the win in the bag, and the Knicks ended up winning 104 to 101. This is a game where Joel Embiid had 34 points, Maxey had 35. You shouldn't lose a game when you have 2 players performing like that. But what happened? The Knicks end up losing this game. So at the very end of this game, Tyrese Maxey hits a huge 3, which should have been the dagger to this game. It should have been over. It put them up 4, but what happens? Brunson hits a 3, which still puts the Sixers in a solid spot. They have the ball, they're up 1. They inbound it to Maxey. It's a messy inbound where Nick Nurse is trying to call a timeout. The Knicks end up getting the ball. Dante DiVincenzo misses the first shot. Then they get the board, kick it back out to Dante DiVincenzo, and he hits a big 3 to give the Knicks the lead. And all of a sudden, when I was watching this, I couldn't believe it because the Sixers were up by, what was it, 4? They had this in the bag with only a few seconds to go, and then all of a sudden you literally snap your fingers and the Knicks get 2 threes and win the game. Also, keep in mind, this was a game just like game 1 where Brunson did not play too good. He was 8 for 29. Let me see, he had 24 points, but the efficiency was terrible. 1 for 6 from 3. You know what I'm saying? Like, the Knicks were up 2-0 And Brunson did not play good at all in games 1 and 2. The story of game 3 was literally just Joel Embiid. He went off, he dropped a 50-point performance, 19 of which were free throws. So I do have to add that in because I don't know. It's just something. It's crazy that he got that many free throws, but that's who he is. You know, you kind of got to foul him. You got to foul Joel Embiid or else he's going to score on you like every single play. Although I will say, I feel like Mitchell Robinson, when he would come into the game, and even Hartenstein at times, like I feel like they really gave it a good effort of guarding Embiid in this series. Yeah, the Sixers won game 3, a much needed win because they were down 0-2 or whatever you want. They lost the first 2 games. They have to win game 3 or else it's looking clipped for them because no one's ever came back down 3-0, and Embiid hooped. He did. But the story, well, not the story of this one, Jalen Brunson got going. He had a poor first 2 games, 39 points in the game 3 loss. And in game 4, Jalen Brunson absolutely erupted for 47 points. This was a game that the Sixers were leading in and pretty much had, I'm not gonna say in the bag, but if you were watching it, you'd probably say, oh yeah, like this is a game that the Sixers will probably pull out, until like the 3rd quarter where the Knicks went on a run. The Knicks ended up winning 97-92, so they won by 5 to make this series 3-1. And now the Sixers need to win 3 straight. Is that gonna happen? We already know. We already know what happened, unless you were living under a rock. Now, if you thought game 2 was crazy, where the Knicks randomly started spraying threes, Brunson hit one, Dante DiVincenzo hit one, they stole the inbound. You know what I'm saying? You remember that game? This game right here, game 5, in my opinion, is probably the craziest game of the entire NBA playoffs so far. And this is what we're gonna call the Tyrese Maxey game. And why are we gonna call it that? Because Tyrese Maxey had 46 points. Joel Embiid had 19. He was 7 of 19. He played 48 minutes, but he only had 19 points. Tyrese Maxey was the only player on the Sixers to have over 20 points, and he had 46. So fast forwarding to the end of the game, the Knicks are up by 4, and McBride hits basically a free throw to put them up 6. 28 seconds to go, and it looks like the Knicks have the one in the bag. But then Tyrese Maxey comes down and right away pulls up a 3, getting a 4-point play for the Sixers. And when he hit this, I was like, holy shit, 2-point game. He hit the free throw, by the way. Then they sent Josh Hart to the line. He only hit one of them. So it's a 3-point game with about, I don't know, 11, 12 seconds left. Maxey comes down and pulls up from the logo to tie the game. This was the craziest shot that I've seen of the entire NBA playoffs. And now the Knicks and Sixers went to overtime. Of course, they went to overtime after Brunson missed a little floater for game, essentially. And in overtime, nothing too crazy happened. The Sixers ended up winning this game, obviously going 3-2 in the series. Brunson pretty much had an insane usage rate. I don't know what it was, but he was really not passing. He was taking a lot of shots. Brunson did have 40 points in this game, another 40-point performance, but it wasn't enough as Tyrese Maxey literally turned into like Superman, as Joel Embiid was basically like a no-show in this game. And then we have the eventual game 6. Sixers need to win this game to force game 7. As we know, they didn't. It's a 118-115 Knicks win. But what I gotta say about this game is a lot of things, because this game was crazy. First off, I want to talk about OG Anunoby, because again, absolute great pickup for the Knicks. I don't know if you could have found a better one. I don't think you could. He had crazy timely shots. Offensively, he was insane. Defensively, he's also insane. He's just an elite player. He just is. He had a bunch of threes. He had 2 threes. He had some middies. One of them looked really awkward, but it went in. I don't know. Some of his shots just look awkward, but they end up going in. 2 steals, 2 blocks, and he had the insane poster dunk on Joel Embiid. It was one of those dunks that kind of makes you like jump up. Like, I think I screamed even when I saw it. Like, not like a crazy scream, but like, you know what I'm saying? It gives a reaction. Like, that shit was crazy to watch. Before we talk about how this game ended, I also want to say Jalen Brunson hooped again. Another 40-point game, 41 points, 12 assists. He was 13 for 27, 3 for 8 from the 3-point line. And so this was the game where at the end of the game, with about 2.5 minutes to go, it looked like the Knicks had it in the bag, but the Sixers had other things in mind. So they were down 8 with about 2:30, and Oubre hits a huge 3 to make it a 5-point game. Fast forward even more, Maxey gets a layup to go, which makes it a 3-point game. And then fast forward to near a minute remaining in the game, the Knicks are getting nothing offensively, and Oubre gets a putback to make it a 1-point game. After that, Brunson gets a pull-up 2 to make it a 3-point game. And then with about 35 seconds left, Tyrese Maxey drives in and gets an and one layup, a huge and one layup to tie the game. And this play was reviewed for a goaltend. Is it a goaltend? Is it an and one? Y'all let me know in the comments, because this is a very huge call and this is a very controversial one. And then right after that, with about 25 seconds left, they kind of doubled or even tripled Jalen Brunson. I don't know what happened to Kelly Oubre on this play, and Josh Hart hits another huge three for the Knicks to give him a 3-point lead with 24 seconds left. And then right after that, Embiid just kind of backs down OG Anunoby and gets an easy layup to go. And then after the Sixers fouled Dante DiVincenzo, he hit 2 free throws to make it a 3-point game. This is the craziest play. With 3 seconds left, they inbound it to Buddy Hield, who just throws it up. This thing hit the top of the backboard. One of the craziest shot attempts that I've seen all year. And I think Buddy Hield, I don't know, I didn't see the interviews afterwards. Maybe I should look at those. But I think Buddy Hield thought there was like half a second or something. Maybe he thought there was 1 second, because he caught this and just launched it. Like, he didn't even take a real jumper. I think the Sixers also really wanted to get this into Tyrese Maxey, who was pretty much hot all game. He was kind of covered. Also, he was kind of deep, you know, 3 seconds to go. He's not even really close to the 3-point line. So they just inbounded to Buddy Hield, who definitely could have got a better shot. I think, I'm not even kidding, I think I could have got a better shot. Buddy Hield catches it, literally throws it up off the top of the backboard, shit rolling down his leg. Absolute disaster class for Buddy Hield at the end there. But it sucks, because Buddy Hield was having a great game. He was having a great game. Let me see how many points he had. Like 21 points or something. He had 20 points off the bench. He hit 6 threes, and Buddy Hield's one of my favorite players. Y'all probably don't know that, but I've loved him, or not, love is kind of crazy, but I've liked him ever since he was at Oklahoma, coming into the NBA when he was on the Kings, even the Pacers a little bit. And he really didn't get much playing time in the series, and he turned out to be that spark plug, that guy they needed here in game 6, up until the very end, where he had no clue what was going on. Now the Knicks are moving on, where they're going to take on the Indiana Pacers. Y'all let me know in the comments how y'all feel about this series. I will have the Knicks winning it. I think they were just so good. Like, they don't have the best players. If you look at on paper, they don't have a bunch of superstars, but they have the best chemistry out of, you know, not gonna say the best, but some of the best chemistry out of any team in the NBA. They have that Villanova chemistry. And just again, OG Anunoby was a great addition to this team. I'd probably say Knicks in 6 again over the Pacers. I might drop a full predictions for the second round soon, so sub up, turn on noties for that. But I really hope that we get the eventual Knicks Celtics Eastern Conference Finals, because that series actually I think is going to be interesting, especially if the Celtics are without Kristaps Porzingis, which he's expected to miss a few more games. We'll see if he comes back, because injuries like that can really linger, and we know Porzingis' injury history. He's a pretty injury prone guy. So if he's not there, obviously the Celtics would probably still be the favorite, but the Knicks Celtics Eastern Conference Finals, that would be a really good series.